because that position was for me or my future husband. But when we don't acknowledge who we really are, trust the new changes that we're putting in place, and just keep walking the path. Just keep walking the path. That power is what you created, and you created it because it's what you wanted. You see, we forget that. Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. I'm glad I get the chance to see you again. And I was wondering, do you really know how much power that you possess in this day and age at this time over your life? Because a lot of us think that the circumstances that we surround ourselves by, that's what dictates what happens to us. But I want you to know, you have more power than you think. And if you are like I was in the aftermath of my divorce, these words mean nothing to you. You don't think that you're empowered because you're still feeling the immediate hurt and pain from the circumstances that you just got out of. That is real, but it's temporary. And you can make an adjustment now and determine how long it's going to take for you to keep walking through that. You don't have to allow that to keep being your existence. So there's a few things I want to share with you today. I don't know if you've ever considered that you have more power than you think in this moment to change your life. Yeah, you do. It may not always feel like it, because it definitely didn't feel like it to me when I was walking through my journey. You see, in the aftermath of my divorce, I decided I was done with this thing called marriage. It was too much chaos. It was too much drama. I did not want to be bothered. So why would I even put myself in a position to date, to talk, to do the things? No, didn't want to do that. But when you're fresh in the middle of the chaos, that is often your immediate thought until you run across, let's say, an old friend. For those of you that have read my premiere book, you know about Mr. Mister. For those of you that don't, just read chapter 4. So when Mr. Mister showed up, I decided, really wasn't that bad when we first knew each other. And if it was under different circumstances and a different time and place, then this might have worked out. So as the conversation between us started sparking, it's like, all right, let's just try. So when I put forth the effort to try again, the thing that I had been doing, working on me, getting better for me, growing into my best version, all of those lessons got tossed out. Because when we are fresh and redefining and rediscovering ourselves, some of that stuff is just not truly stuck. So you often revert back to past behaviors, especially if you have someone in your world that's familiar in your past. Some of the things that you once did, you feel are still okay because they're accustomed to it. But for some of us, those of us that are loving and giving and caring, when we choose to do that, that can backfire on you. It can backfire on you because you'll walk back into the role of being the personal doormat and doing everything for everybody else and not doing what's necessary for you. So when Mr. Mister showed up, and I abdicated the throne once again and just allowed him to just run reign in my world. I'm not married to this man. We don't have any commonalities really together, but I gave him a position of authority that I should have never done because that position was for me or my future husband. But when we don't acknowledge who we really are, trust the new changes that we're putting in place, and just keep walking the path. Just keep walking the path. That power is what you created, and you created it because it's what you wanted. You see, we forget that power was already there. In every situation that you had in the past, and every moment in your life that you previously experienced, that power was there. But you got thrown off by just 1 degree. And so I was listening to this story about how airplane pilots, they have to really pay attention to the gauges, because if the gauge is off, 1 degree. That 1 degree equals to about 60 miles. I am a native of Washington, D.C. To get from D.C. to New York is a short trip. Only takes about an hour and a half on a plane. That is about 200 miles. Now, 200 miles is not that big, but if you're 1 degree off leaving from the airport, instead of getting to New York City like you anticipate, you'll end up somewhere in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. When we don't pay attention to the power that we possess, putting measures in place that we want, a 1 degree difference can change everything for you. That 1 degree difference for me added the extra mile in the wrong direction. I chose to be present with someone that I knew didn't fully know me, but I was raised with the thought that you are young and you will grow into the potential. So I saw the potential, but that potential was 1 degree off. And I found myself in a position where my potential wasn't manifesting and his potential wasn't manifesting. As a result, we struggled. We struggled in a marriage trying to make things work. We struggled in a relationship trying to get things hold. And as a result of that struggle, when it ended 11 years later, I no longer wanted to participate. But I forgot that 1 degree. That 1 degree was the power that I already possessed. I just had to make a decision to start manifesting what I wanted. What 1 degree decision did you make yesterday that put you in a position that may have been similar to mine? Do you realize that you have the power to make that 1 degree decision today that will move you into a better direction? So what can you do to get there? So here's one thing. The first thing that you can do is first speak what you want. That 1 degree is often you deciding what you want to have. And then you often start talking about it. So think about something simple, a new car. If you decide that you are tired of the car that you're in and you want a brand new one, you start telling people, you know what, I just need to get me a new car. It just has to happen. So you speak it into existence. When you finally start locking down the thought in your mind and you have said it enough, then there's a next step. The next step is start to doing the things that are necessary to put that in place. You already spoke what you wanted. It can manifest. Because if you ever thought about a particular vehicle, you haven't purchased it, but you finally narrowed down the one that you want. As you're driving around and the thing that you don't want, you start seeing the thing that you want everywhere. Now, did those other cars just manifest themselves just magically, or were they always on the road? That's a thought on numerous levels. But here's something to consider. When you chose to do something different and speaking into reality what you wanted, that 1 degree decision opened up the divergent that you needed to start seeing some other things. You no longer focused on what was in the past, so you didn't see the major issues anymore. You are now focused on a new future. You are now focused on a new plane to function. And as you started functioning there, you started seeing more of what you wanted. By seeing more of what you wanted, you started solidifying it a lot more in your soul. So if you decide to do that, the next thing that you have to do is start having people surround you that will support you. Because for some of us, we're still stuck in the 1 degree decision that we made in the past because we still have people from our past reminding us that that was a choice that you made, reminding us that that was a place that you were and who you used to be as you try to become the person that you desire or build the life that you want. Those people will keep reminding you of the past degree decision that you made. So you may have to start using something that I often teach, share, and show, the levels of relationship. When you are looking at the levels of relationship, level 1, that's you. Think of yourself as a house. In the house, The house brings comfort. The house is to be protected. Those that come into the house are to honor the house and support the house. If they are not there to do that, they don't really need to be in the house, unless you just choose to be entertaining. But I want you to be careful with that as well, because when I did it with Mr. Totally messed up my 1 degree decision. But let's get back to what I was sharing. The level two relationships are those relationships where you can think of like the fence around the house. When you have a fence around the house, it's a border to let you know who is really welcomed in that environment. And it also lets the general public know this is not for you to really walk through. So it cautions and it starts operating like that filter. The filter that you put in place when you started seeing the new vehicle, it's also the thing that will help you keep your 1 degree decision because it defines what you want already. Then there's level 3 relationships. Level 3 relationships, that's outside the fence. Anybody walking and talking. It's a bum on the street. It doesn't matter. Have the conversation the way you want with whomever you desire. But when you start bringing people closer to you, start determining what level that they are. And there may be moments we don't like to think about it. We don't want it to happen, but it does. Where you may have to move some people that used to be level 1 relationships into level 2 or maybe level 3. Because if you got a wall between where you are and what you want, you can't always reveal that. When we speak what we desire into the world, everybody's ears can't process it. You may have to walk around your wall in silence, letting who you are and how you're going to function just be there, but don't reveal the inner workings of your dreams. Don't reveal the changes in your 1 direction so that you can get whole. The only time you let it be known to those individuals you have not yet figured out how to move from one level to the next, away from your personal environment. Let's just be silent until you got your victory. Or when you get your victory, it's like, oh, the wall is about to come down. That is when you shout. That is when you start celebrating. That is when they'll start getting the clue like, hey, what are you doing over there? By the time they figured out what's happening, you would have already gained your victory. You would have already been able to accomplish what you want. And if they start giving you I don't think you can do that. Well, it's never been done before. Why would you want to do something like that? Those words at that point, in that moment, they won't even matter because you'll be so close to your finish line that the shout alone will have the walls break down and what they told you could not be done. They will eventually see. What I've shared today is based off of some next level notes. Now, some of you are aware of my next level notes. For those of you that don't, it's just some grounded information that I have gained over my life, sort of a heavenly download into my being. When I shared with you to speak, oh, I learned that from my favorite book, chapter 1. In the beginning was the level plane for the 1 degree changes that would take place next. Because after that, to help keep things on path, to build and create the future that you want, you have to stop saying what you see and start speaking what you want to be. Because when God spoke, he spoke what he wanted into creation. When God spoke, he spoke what was needed for that moment in time to create what he desired. The way I was raised is that you were designed in the image of the creator of the universe. And if God designed you in his image, then how he functions, you have an opportunity to have elements of you function the same. And he spoke everything into being. So when you are making that 1 degree decision, speak what you want. Let the God in you be seen. Let the God in you go to work. Let the God in you start saying what you want to be. Because sometimes the words that we let come out of our mouth often destroy what we want before it's ever manifested. Start saying what you want to see. That way, the power that you have already had in your world will give you the opportunity to continue to make the changes that you needed, 1 degree in a direction that you want to be. If you're not there yet, and if you want to make it a lot better, shift that thought so that you are focused. And don't let the barrier that's around you, the wall that's between you and the thing that you want, that breakthrough is you just simply walking around in silence and then shouting your victory when you get close. And so for today, if you don't remember anything else I've shared, here's the one thing I want you to know. You can have victory because you already possess the power to make the 1 degree changes in the decisions that you make. And if you want someone to join you on the journey, feel free to go to my website, TanyaEhood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. And if you're on YouTube, you can join me live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we can continue the conversation or we can start a new one. In the meantime, this is Tanya Ehud walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.